White opens with, "Hello, are you down to sext?" Putting an offer on the table that's not normal, especially when you've just met someone. This mistake was played way too early, and only rookies make moves this careless. Black responds with, "The fuck? That's your second message? Really? No," leaving no room for discussion in a brutal and well-deserved rejection. Black plays an excellent move in response here, both defending well and entering a position with some good attacking response. White hits back with "PLZ, I'll make you come," making an offer that you and I both know they cannot fulfill with an inaccuracy. You know you're cooked when you have to use the word please to get a chance with the girl, and doubling down on it is a new low. White doesn't have only no respect for their opponent, but none for themselves either, which is an L for obvious reasons. No means no, dude. No. Making a very good point, Black doubles down on the rejection and even decides to make things aggressive this time. Great move. If this isn't a big enough sign for White to move on, it's their problem because it's very obvious they have no chance of winning the game now, unless a miracle happens, of course. White doesn't take no for an answer, and replies with, "Why not? It's hot. Just ask and be embarrassed at this point by playing blunder." If you get rejected twice, the only good move available is aborting the game before you get your ass beat, but White clearly likes being spanked or something. I mean, who am I to judge? It would be a bit hypocritical. Black triples down this time and pushes back with, "Because I said so, now fuck off." And at this point, they seem angry enough to justify hitting the block button and moving on. That would have definitely been the best move, but instead they decided to play this miss and give White another opportunity to get back into the game. White plays, "I know you but not do it. You are bad, not had at all, unless you can me." And as embarrassing as this is, let's be real, it's funny as shit. No way bro said Black wasn't hot after basically begging for nudes. I am crying. Jokes aside, I'd be an idiot to not grade this in inaccuracy because it makes next to no sense and makes White look like a clown. Let's just say there are a lot of opportunities for Black to attack back. Have fun making other women uncomfy, I'm blocking you. Black finally plays the best move on the defense, realizing they have a button that literally guarantees an instant checkmate. Saying they're going to use it is only the first step though, because what's the point if it's a loose threat? Clearly it was a loose threat because White hits back with, "Send pic please, you are come back here, do not ignore, I know your living place." There's no better way to respond to a threat than with another threat, and as much as I want to hate on this move, it's excellent. Black is definitely the type of player to believe they are going to get doxxed. This time, I'm wrong though, as Black replies with, "Damn bro, where do I live?" essentially daring their opponent to drop the address, which is pretty badass and a great move if you ask me. I mean, if White has actually doxed them, it's a blunder, but let's just assume they haven't. Given that this, is Reddit, the user probably doesn't have enough IQ to find someone's personal details. I'm acting like I do. America, scared. White would have been better off saying nothing rather than this terrible blunder, which gives all the authority they have built straight back to the opponent. Obviously, Black is not scared. You can't just say you know someone's living place and then name the most likely country in the world for an English-speaking Reddit user to come from. Infinite oral loss for White here. Black hits back with, "LOL, thanks so much for this, genuinely made my day, you're very far off," and while they may have gotten the last laugh, it's hard not to call this a cornball move. Like bro, just laugh at them, move on, just block them or something. The whole thank you gimmick is enough to make even the most brain-rotted iPad kid shrivel like a raisin. This play still strengthens their position, but definitely damages their legacy on the platform. In defense, White responds, "You are cracker, shut up you have small." Again, making no sense because why would they want to sex it if Black's tits are small? Unless they're into that, but based on the fact that they're trying to use it as an insult, I do not think that's the case. Blunder, and this loses the game for White. Next, White starts with, "You're so cute BS, I would throw you in car," cutting right to the chase in an outrageous move because similar to the opening in the last game, it's way too soon for shit like this. You can't just casually call a stranger cute and then follow it up by offering head action in the car. This is not how society works. Maybe if I said it to a girl, she'd say yeah, but the truth is, the sad, very sad truth is, not everyone is me. Expressing their shock, Black replies, "Bro, WTF, LOL," giving the most generic response to a message about head action ever. I could be mean and great at a boring move, but given the circumstances, it's a book move, because most players would say this as a reaction. Count yourself lucky, Black. White doubles down with yeah, confirming to Black they in fact meant what they said and no, this is an official offer. If they don't take it, I am free most days by the way, I'm just letting White know. I am unemployed. Jokes aside though, this goes down as a good move for not changing character, you gotta respect the commitment. Black asks, "How old are you?" dropping the plot twist of the century because there ain't no way they're interested enough in this proposition to check if it's legal or not. I'm willing to put an argument for that Black is just as freaky as White this game, but at least two weirdos have found each other rather than tormenting your average citizens. Asking your opponent's age before making more moves is always a good move though, better safe than sorry. 21 is White's response, and considering Black didn't respond to this, I'm going to assume they're a minor trying to survive. At least this is the good ending though, no minor got diddied with, and White didn't continue to pursue. I've never seen more of a stalemate in my entire life. Next, you're really cute, 16 male is White's first move of the game, confessing their feelings and making their age and gender known in a well-rounded book move. This gives the opponent the information they need to know whether they're allowed to pursue this, and also gives a normal compliment compared to the other shit we see on text chess. Black still seems uncomfortable though, and responds with, thanks I guess, clearly not being happy that a random person has called him cute online, and that's okay. There's definitely more polite ways to go about it because this will probably send White into a depression spiral, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Good move. Moving away from the obvious riz, White asks, what are you up to try and steer the conversation away from romance and keep themselves within a chance of getting Black's love. This excellent move is well calculated and takes down Black's defensive awareness so White can become more of an attacking player in future rounds. They're thinking in the long term, and I like it. Black answers, just woke up, lol, I'm kinda hungover right now, lol, being honest about the fact that they're literally in the trenches right now. No wonder they were so reluctant about White's opening move. Black plays a good move by informing their opponent of this, and now both know the situation much better and can adjust their game to it. White does this and replies, nice, bet you had a good night, carrying the conversation and making it about Black in a great move. Everyone knows that all people want to do is talk about themselves, and understanding this psychology is the difference between a noob and a pro in text chess riz matches. White is now in a very strong position to pursue checkmate. Black expands on their night by playing, nah, I was drunk with my dad and shit, which is kinda depressing, and I wouldn't blame White if this was enough to make them abort the game. Being hungover after a night with your dad might be up there with the saddest things ever because surely you can bond without the alcohol. This is cooked and a mistake for telling the opponent and giving them the chance to run away while they still can. Up to anything fun, White basically asks the same question as before, and that's when you know this conversation is already running dry. This inaccuracy literally makes no sense because Black has already revealed they are still in bed hungover after a night with their dad, so they're obviously not up to anything fun. All this does for White is reveal their lack of brain cells, which isn't what you want for obvious reasons. Black reiterates, nothing really, I'm just laying in bed, lol, stating what they already have in a forced move, and you have to feel sorry for them. They've already had to go through the hungover agony of typing this message before, and now they have to do the exact same thing again. Black just needs to roll over and go back to sleep at this point because they're not getting any value out of this game. White then plays, nice, same here, trying to be relatable, but the only thing relatable about this between the two is how boring it is. It's so boring that it deserves nothing other than a boring move title, and the win is going to be Black on this one. Next, White decides to open really weirdly by asking, do you have discharge like that in your panties? Asking an extremely personal question that most women wouldn't even tell their best friend. This blunder is already bad enough, but the fact that it's literally the opening move too just makes things 100 times worse. Unless bro is on to try to get blocked by the huzz speedrun, they're an absolute creep and deserve nothing more than to lose this game. Surprisingly though, Black answers by saying, yeah, not much though, it's so gross, it's every hour or so, crying emoji. And of course it's gross, it's the bodily fluid that cleans out your entire body, it's full of inherently gross stuff. However, the thing in itself is completely normal. Black plays a mistake by actually answering the question because it's just the type of shit you're supposed to keep to yourself regardless of who's asking. Seeing that Black is happy to engage in weird talk, White continues their pursuit and explains, I would love to buy your panties with discharge in them, I'd lick it out. And what the actual fuck have my eyes and your ears been exposed to? Licking out discharge might be the very worst thing a man can be into, and I'm not usually one to judge, but right now I think it's very valid. As bad as this offer is on White's end though, it's a pipe dream for Black, and as gross as it is, they should accept it. Imagine selling a pair a month, that would be a legitimate business. These men are usually down to pay a lot of money. Unfortunately though, hustling isn't for Black and they choose to resign the game out of complete fear. Next, she looks underage, smirking emoji, must be tight. Okay buddy, editor, put the Shaq timeout gif on screen because I promise you that's all what I'm doing right now. Black plays a criminal move right from the get-go so dastardly that the admins are forced to ban him from the platform before the game can even continue. An even bigger concern though is the one person who upvoted this. They're just as bad and need to be stopped. Next, White states, you seem annoying, making their opinions on the opponent clear and setting up a game where we will definitely see some aggression. I'd label this as a book move, but it's way too attacking to be that basic, so it's a good move. Weirdly enough though, Black hits back with thank you, kiss, and you can tell they're one of the people who think they're above everyone for being the better person in beef. Saying thank you after being insulted is the least tough thing ever, and you should not be heard anywhere other than middle school. When you pass that age, you should have the competence to come up with a funny insult yourself and win the game. Inaccuracy. Continuing their attacking style of play, White replies, you probably don't know how to give a blow, which has absolutely no relevance, and honestly, it's not even an insult. Black is a pussy though, so any sort of insult is enough to get the higher ground over them, making this one a great move. White might not be the best player ever, but they for sure know how to fight against this opponent effectively. I would too, if it was, sword fight. I don't want to give a blow is Black's valid response, but other than calling it valid, what else can I really say? It makes a bold statement and leaves no room for discussion on it, but knowing white, they'll continue the discussion anyway, making the good move lose most of its power. In principle, this move is way above a good one, but applying it to the situation only downgrades it. As I guessed, white asks why, which is a super two-dimensional question. I honestly thought white had a bit of brain power to back him up, but obviously not. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I expected a little bit better. It's obviously because black doesn't f with white's playstyle, so why would you want to give him head? Asking why is just setting yourself up to get insulted and a dumbass blunder. Black delivers the insult by playing because some guys are disrespectful, some guys don't wash their dick properly, and so on. I knew it. White had this game in the bag, but one slip-up invited black to come out of their show, and they did so very well, an excellent move. Just imagine being told your dick is dirty by a random girl online. That's when you know it's time for you to retire from the game. I'm not speaking from experience, by the way. It was a guy who told me, some random guy, I'm obviously joking. Getting rage baited really easily by this, white loses their composure and responds with "you're prob ugly," making absolutely no sense and throwing the little bit of aura they still had directly down the drain. The reason this miss is so goddamn stupid is that black has a profile picture. What do you mean they're probably ugly? The low ass IQ of white is revealed again here, and there's no recovering this for them. Black punches the final blow, which reads, "Aw, don't you clean your d-," doubling down on the rage bait and getting white so angry that they resign the game immediately. At this point, they should probably uninstall the game because this is an embarrassment that the text chess community will not forget quickly. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can actually join the text chess community through our Discord server with the link in the description. You can also submit text there to appear in my videos. Revolutionary stuff, but I know. Next, white makes a Reddit post on r/comebacks that reads, "Comebacks to nobody likes you from my sister," and the fact that bro needs a comeback for this already tells me enough that I need to know they're a cornball making this a cornball move. If your sister of all people tells you this, you should just move on with your life instead of going to Reddit of all places for comebacks because they come out with some crazy shit. Your mom likes me rigid and painting my baby seeds. Point proven. Shit like this only emerges from Reddit comment threads and the odd Discord community, and black plays an outrageous move for being the one to say. More a tame insult is the way to go, especially when talking to a sister who is more likely going to snitch the first chance they get. White informs black that the op specified their sister, bro, and holy shit, I didn't even clock what he means. Sweet home Alabama the f out of here, black, because that response has just become 500 times more evil. This message might single-handedly be all the evidence needed to send black to hell, and it's well deserved. I'm grading this a brilliant move for calling out the freak and hopefully allowing justice to prevail. In an attempt to defend such a strong attack, black hits back with "why does that matter?" Probably a step anyway, and I really hope that this isn't some sort of self-reflection here. I know I'd usually tell someone to practice what they preach, but you and I both know that this does not apply to such a blunder. White replies simply with "Gooner brain" in a good move, but the best move would have been saying something much worse. This is way too tame for someone literally supporting incest, but at least it does a job and secures a checkmate. Next, "Hi, wait, do you want to great?" White opens with a question you don't typically ask someone when you're not 100% sure they're the intended recipient, but hey, they did it anyway. Regardless of whether consent was given prior though, rating people's on Reddit is a level of degeneracy that every ancestor in the entire family tree would frown upon and a mistake in on itself. Unless you get paid for it, that is. $5 is $5. Black is confused and asks, "I want a what?" telling me that bro is not the intended recipient, which makes White's previous move even worse than it already is. This is a forced move in response, not having any idea what's going on and having to find out for themselves. White cuts to the chase and straight up says, "Great, back," giving us back-to-back forced moves as White has no choice to explain themselves. Sending these two words was definitely the right way to go about things because it pretty much explains itself, and I wouldn't want to type out a detailed paragraph on rating either. You're meant to save that for the rating itself. Finally understanding what's going on here, Black asks, "So you want to see my?" And I very much hope this is a question rather than an offering. Assuming it's a question because nobody has that much character development in one move, I'll call this a good move for trying to enhance understanding, but if things continue after this question, I won't be so kind. Yeah, kinda. Absolutely no denial from White, who doubles down one last time on their rating fantasies and puts Black in a situation where they have one of two choices. They may either deny the rating and be on with their day, or accept it and receive a complete statistical analysis on their private parts. Not gonna lie, if I was in this situation, I'd accept it straight away. I know mine is way above average, but hearing someone else tell me that would be pretty cool. The moment of truth arrives and Black answers, "Sorry, I don't trust any of you. You are actually really creepy and weird." Absolute cinema. Black does the right thing and leaves room for all of us to get our rated instead. You can't waste such valuable resources on an unwilling participant. It just isn't really fair. Trophy move for turning down the offer, and everyone watching this video is very thankful. Next, what do you like to do in your freezer time? Edit free. Is White's opening, and I might just not be online enough, but who else does edit instead of just using an asterisk to correct themselves? In fairness, it's the type of thing I can imagine your average Reddit user doing, so it makes complete sense. That corny part aside though, this is a normal question and a book move. Black replies game like every other teenager on the entire planet. This boring move is very vague, and they could have at least said what games they play, but I guess they're trying to keep up some sort of aura they don't have. They're not me. Normalize sending coherent messages instead of trying to sound edgy as hell though. White hits back saying, it's better than what most boys say, which low-key scares me because what else has this player been exposed to? A neutral move he has played here without any offense or defensive intentions and simply aims to develop some pieces, which it does well. Good move, but it still frightens me. Black responds like they couldn't give a fuck about what this game has to offer and simply responds with, yeah, I guess, and I've not seen replies this low effort since I tried to slide back into my ex's DMs on Christmas. I thought she could, sit on Santa's lap and we could talk about the first thing that pops up, but I guess the damage has already been done. By the way, I'm Santa. I don't see what this miss does for the game, and it just looks like a missed opportunity to me, so that's what I'll call it. Knowing Black couldn't give less of a shit, White expands anyway and explains they say jerking off, but this mistake is destined for failure. This is quite literally any example of talking to a wall because the opponent does not give a singular f about what any of the other boys say. He just wants to get back on his game, and you know what? I respect it. Sometimes I want to get back on my game after reading these messages too. LMAO is Black's lame excuse of a laugh, and you and I both know they have the straightest face ever in real life, almost as straight as I am, making this an inaccuracy. I don't think I've ever actually typed LMAO or sent a laughing emoji while actually laughing instantly, meaning nobody else has. Black might be boring, but they're definitely in the winning seat right now unless White ups their game. Instead of locking in though, White pushes back with, so you don't do it, taking things down a much weirder route than I thought with a blunder. I was prepared for a casual and boring game, but it is a tech chess video, of course shit goes downhill. All this does is leave all sorts of gaps in their defense for Black to penetrate with a simple insult. It depends on whether Black is badass enough or not to throw these attacks at their opponent though. Of course they're not. Black plays, that's kind of personal, and instead of insulting White, which was obviously the best possible move here, they chose the weakest move on the right side of the table. Good move. At least they stood their ground, but come on man, tech chess isn't about voicing your opinions, it's about ripping your opponents to shreds with no mercy. Take it from a grand champion. The grand champion. Since Black was too big of a pussy to put their opponent in their place, White continues with, I don't do it, I guess you do, changing their mind this time and assuming they are a Gooner. This is a level of rage bait that your average player cannot understand, and a definite good move on the offense, capturing a piece of high value. Black tries to defend by saying, none of your business gang, heartbroken emoji, trying to act tough, but in reality, just making my prior analysis even more accurate with another blunder. Black isn't built for games in this elo bracket because they're too big of a scaredy cat to make any sorts of offensive moves. White did what they couldn't, and now Black is forced to defend for their life. The first thing on your post is wires AF, edit weird. Just as you'd expect, White continues to play in their offensive playstyle, knowing that Black does not have it in them to hit back. I feel like I'm watching a real life version of the hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby meme, and we all know who is who. Sometimes though, even the biggest underdogs come out as a champion. Black hits back with, it's called a meme, my gang. Look at the server, it's okay, buddy gang, it's basically a circle jerker, educating White and showing off their first sign of any power in this game. The teacher is always the most promising winner, and the tables are definitely turning here after Black dropped an excellent move. White simply says WTF, wasting their move on a shock rather than providing any value to the game. This mistake invites even more pressure from Black and officially fumbles what was a very firm grip on the game. Do you know what that is? Black asks, insulting White's IQ levels in 100 different languages. It's so insulting that White sees more punches coming and decides to resign the game immediately with this brilliant move. Next, White explains that he would lick the sweat off her abs and clean her dirty socks with her mouth, and somehow gets 9 upvotes. I don't even know what's more concerning, the people who are supporting this or the author. The fact that bro is a top 1% commenter tells me this isn't the first time offense, meaning Reddit hasn't made any effort to shut them down. I mean, the mods can't exactly say that a top 1% commenter went under the radar. I have a feeling this is a subreddit full of other specimens like this, and there's a bitch bigger problem, so I'm just not going to rate White, I'm going to rate the entire server. Its entire existence, fuck that. Reddit's entire existence, and is an outrageous move. Next, White opens with, hey gorgeous, smiling face, would you be interested in a cuckoid relationship, going from normal to one of the creepiest people on the platform in a matter of seconds? You can't just dish out wholesome compliments like gorgeous and then casually offer a cuckold relationship without expecting a blunder. All of this isn't even considering the fact that it's an opening move. Save it for the endgame, brother. Black shows some intrigue and asks, what is that? Eyes looking emoji. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with not knowing about something, but you can easily save yourself from oral loss by opening a widely opened app. You guessed it, Google. That would have been the best move here, but instead they missed it with a miss. Their loss. Choosing to explain rather than judge, white plays, it's a relationship where I'd be faithful and you can have fun with other guys. TBH, I have a small D, but love to watch then clean up after. What the I'd usually respect the honesty, but in this specific situation, honesty is the last policy. All it does is cause self-humiliation and invite the opponent to take a high-value piece, being your dignity. It's not even the small dick that's the worst part. Who am I to shame my own not my own who am I to shame these people? It's the fact that bro is willing to watch his girl get messed with, and then he is willing to clean it up after. What level of degeneracy is that? It's definitely a level low enough to warrant a second blunder, making it back-to-back in the opening. Somehow Black still has interest in the proposition and asks how small, lol, setting up the trap of the century with a brilliant move. On the surface, your average tech chess player would see the huzz analyzing a potential match, but a high elo player like me sees the truth behind the move. Black is inviting white to share how small it is to create embarrassment high enough to create a self-checkmate. White falls into the trap and replies with 1 on soft, 3 on hard, self-checkmate themselves like a mouse running into a mousetrap, admitting your size to be that small and then featured in a tech chess video. Mine is way bigger than that. I mean, honestly, that is still pretty big. I promise, guys, I'm qualified to insult white here, though. I said I promise, okay? Jokes aside, I've never seen someone who isn't a grower or a shower. It's almost as embarrassing as not being subscribed. We're pushing for 200,000 subscribers in 2020, 2020, 2020, 2026, and it's so easy to click the button and just do it. Make sure to like while you're down there too. Next, hi, where are you from? White kicks us off with a certified hood classic, and I'm convinced this opening has been used more than Bonnie Blue at this point. Jokes aside, it's basic for a reason, and nothing's wrong with using this book move at all. It just depends on what you do with it afterward that matters. Black answers New Zealand, why do you ask, giving the usual answers to a usual question. The upside down of the world produces some pretty attractive talents if I do say so myself, and informing the opponent of this origin goes down as a book move for sure. It's also always a safe thing to ask why, because the last thing you want to do is leak more information to a mafia boss. White answers the question with, nice, same here. Auckland North Shore cuz was wondering if you were keen for some fun, sorry for the late reply, releasing a very strange mistake into the wild. Having fun has already come up in this video, and assuming our white player means the same as our last user, it's not the most typical request to make to a stranger on Reddit. I'm not sure about you, but I don't typically try to meet any Reddit users. That's probably the last place I'd go for bedsheet fun. Next, 28 male, I like detailed role-playing, open to all and fantasies, am a strategy consultant and pretty successful, travel a lot and love to explore Namaste, fantasies, exhibition, threesome, switch, soft BDSM, open. Like to keep it realistic because it's relatable and more pleasure, love lingerie, bikini, and sexy dresses. Who doesn't, man? I can't tell whether I'm reading the bio of someone on Tinder edition or a LinkedIn profile because this is all over the place. How can you talk about your career and soft BDSM in the same move? It doesn't make sense from White at all and is a blunder that makes Black resign. Next, White starts a massive tangent which reads, get that, I'll take a step back, I'll take off my trousers, I'll come to you, sit near you, kiss the middle of your chest, slowly breathe in your body, lift your arms up, I'll take your top off and see you, you're so beautiful, you there, did you sleep? Some of these players actually make me question my life choices. I literally have to read this stuff fast so that I don't get embarrassed by the fact that I'm saying these words out loud. Like, what do you mean I'm sitting here on a random ass afternoon rating moves from people who are into text roleplay? The most upsetting part is that the move isn't even finished. Not long after, White follows up with, hey, I hope you are okay, showing how desperate they are for a little bit of pussy with an accuracy. It's so obvious they're not checking on their opponent here, they're just making sure they're not too far down in the inbox for them to find. Luckily for White, this isn't the case, they just got ignored like every other D1 creep on the planet. In a huge plot twist though, Black decides to reply to this one and responds with, look what you're looking for elsewhere, keeping things blunt and making it clear that White is not going to get the dignity of another response. This excellent move conveys their message perfectly and forks 2 high value pieces on White's side of the board, making it only logical for them to defend rather than inflict more attacks. I was not looking for anything. Yeah, and Diddy is innocent. White makes the most incorrect statement in this channel's history, and it only makes sense to label it an inaccuracy. Okay, the channel's history might be an exaggeration, but you get the point. This statement is so utterly incorrect that it turns out White player turned into Pinocchio and their nose instantly grows larger than my Spoiler, that's pretty goddamn huge. This growth causes them to become trapped in a room because their nose is so long to escape, and they rot until they oof, automatically giving the win to Black by resignation. This is all true, by the way. Next, White opens with, anyone can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a dad, and this is the type of corny shit you see when you pull up to your best friend's house for the first time. I can literally see it plastered on some Father's Day mug or something, and while it's true, let's be real, it's a cornball move. It's not true all the time, actually. I don't think it's special when your boy accidentally gets a girl pregnant. It's something even more special to be a daddy, smirking emoji, S-tier humor, and a brilliant move. Black comes out of nowhere like prime Batman and saves the city from the wrath of being corny with good humor. The fact that this play got 103 downvotes should be a crime, and every single person who clicked that button should not be a free man. You're telling me I give the police my tax money and they're letting people like this roam the streets? That's your sign to commit tax fraud, kids. Okay, for legal purposes, please do not commit tax fraud. And when you do actually do it, do not blame me. I was not a part of this. I am joking. Anyway, White commands Black to get the fuck out of here, exposing themselves for being one of the filthy downvoters. Coming out with that much confidence is crazy. I'd be hiding if that were me. It's a mistake to tell the funniest person in the subreddit to fuck off, and the funny bones of every single member will suffer. This isn't just a detrimental move to White's game, it's detrimental to the entire community. Yes, daddy. Back-to-back absolute cinema moves from Black, securing checkmate through RAGEBAIT conditions, which is the most satisfying end to the game. It's a shame we don't get to see the result of the RAGEBAIT due to White being a pussy and resigning, but at least the thought can make us all smile. Also, please do not take me saying those 2 words that you know exactly what I'm talking about out of context. I might just kill my... Next, inflation fetish. Have an inflation I want to she inflation video I found on YouTube. White publishes this on the r/inflation subreddit, clearly looking for validation. This is the type of don't casually release to your digital footprint, because trust me, your old White has just griefed at least one future job application on their future's behalf. You just know they're going to regret making this mistake of an opening, because the delete button is never permanent. Black points out, wrong r/man, this sub is about economic inflation, raising a very good point and telling White's already humiliating post into a nightmare of embarrassment. You're telling me that bro went onto an economic subreddit and admitted to getting off to those YouTube shorts of the inflate job of the Hut figures. Crazy stuff. The best thing that can come from this is White discovering a newfound love for economics and becoming a genius, but the reality of the situation is there's no way they have the brain power for all that. Black pays a good move for showing nice sportsmanship and helping a buddy out. Next, White starts up our next match with a seemingly normal opening, reading, "Welcome to Assault Though, Adulthood, asterisk," spotting that it's Black's birthday on their profile and wishing them a happy birthday in a quirky way. It's definitely out there, but isn't weird when compared to other users on this platform, and a book move. Black hits back with LOL, thanks, closing off the conversation but being polite about it, which is very hard to criticize. Good move, it has manners, it stops the conversation with a probable weirdo, and develops a few pieces into attacking pieces as just in case precaution. It's good that they did, because White attacks now and pushes with, now you can get that big of yours out all over Reddit. Alright, there are a lot of new things you unlock when you turn 18, but I'm pretty sure releasing your all over Reddit isn't the first thing that comes to mind. In most people's mind, it doesn't come to mind at all. At that point, you might as well double down and start an OnlyFans or something, because at least you'll get a bit of money for it. Me, when I turned 18, I immediately started gambling. I am 30 years down the drain and 30 million also. Overall, there are a lot of flaws in this attack, rendering it as a definite blunder. Not yet. What the f does Black mean not yet? Like, oh yeah, I just turned 18. Now let me give it a month and then I'll post my third leg all over Reddit. This absolute mistake of a defensive move makes no sense and gives Whites all sorts of opportunities to double down on the offense. It's almost like Black is trying to lose a game or something. Fortunately, White lays off and replies makes sense, choosing not to get their big guns out, and shows Black who's boss. For the sake of winning the game, this is obviously a miss because a checkmate was imminent, but at least we have a good sportsman here. You have to be ruthless to get elo in these streets. Next, White sends a message request as they're opening with, "I want to spit in your hands and have you wet with it while look me in the eyes." Alright buddy, I'm willing to bet Harvard is more likely to let bro in than this girl. I'm willing to put this in the bottom 3 attempts of trying to slide into the DMs, as White literally slid head first into a brick wall. I mean, come on man, at least be normal until you get accepted. These players have no brain cells, I'm telling you. Black aborts the game before we even have time to rank it. Next, hi, 23 male, edging so good right now. I'd love to beat my to you. Do you use any of those toys up your Jesus Christ. White kicks us off with an example of classic Gooner greed, and this always goes down as a mistake. You're telling me that White already has Gooner material, but they're trying to get even more? Just finish the goon to what you already have instead of trying to get reinforcements from Reddit. All that does is lead to screenshot spam and public embarrassment, point proven here. Black hits back with, good luck because I don't post pictures of myself, LMAO, it's always the Pokemon players who are down bad. Whoa, 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 this is taking place on Reddit. There is absolutely no need to get Pokemon involved in this. Black has such an easy win lined up too, but they had to fumble by insulting a third party. It's just stupid really, and as a massive blunder because I'm the admin, I'm obviously going to step in. Next, White asks, hi, do you like men? Putting forward a valid question in Riz theme matches. It's always important to know what gender your opponent is into, and the amount of times I've been asked this question is crazy. I have no idea why people do it. It's just so people get to know who I am, not because everyone thinks I'm gay or anything. Anyway, yeah, book move. Black seems to get really defensive about this and explains, what? No. And I'm not sure what you think, but I'm pretty sure that's what a gay person would say. You know what they say? It takes one to spot one. No, you know what they Anyway, based on the fact that it is obviously an ultra defensive lie, I'm calling it an inaccuracy. White responds with, as a woman, you don't like men, that's Rafe, rare. Oh shit, black is a woman, everything makes so much sense now, but this is a heavy mistake. Why are we painting out like lesbians are a gold scar in 2017? They're the same as all of us and aren't this ultra rare species. White sounds like your average Reddit incel, and I know one when I see one. Black clarifies, bruh, not a woman, revealing that white is severely mistaken. Black is a straight male being labeled as a gay woman, and to be honest, I'm surprised they're not even mad. Black must be the calmest person on the planet, and they're not falling for the obvious rage bait trap here, which is an excellent move that wins them the game. The best move would be watching the playlist on screen for more absolute cinema text chess games.